Um, I will likely stay camera off this week. I'm going to put on for a sec. I got a little background on, but I'm reporting from the field this week, just out of the house. So going to keep the camera off just because I'm running on hotspot and it might get janky. But I am here. I promise. Thank you all for tuning in. We've been working away at the pre-flood capture in Brandon there and some other cool things to talk about today. So we'll give people a minute. Looks like recording is going. Not sure if we'll get Paul today. I know Matt said he would be on a flight this afternoon, so won't be able to join us.
Okay.
But we got some news from Manitoba. We got some news from Eagle Mountain. We've wrapped up in League City, but we'll be doing some resetting some capture there pretty quickly. So some different initiatives to chat through today. Thanks everyone for spending a few minutes. Let one or two more people get loaded in here. Thank you. I'll reiterate. I'm not sure if Happy's in the chat, but we had two pilots head out to Brandon from Winnipeg. So huge thank you to those who responded. I know a couple more are looking at being able to get out during the weekend. So it's pretty cool to see when the network is able to deploy in these sort of emergency and semi-emergency situations. And we know there's some improvements to be made on the product side to facilitate that for people. But it's very helpful. That data is already flowing into the hands of planners and operators at the city of Brandon and with the province and things like that. We're surfacing that data directly to Esri, and Esri sharing it with all of their contacts. So it's really helpful for that emergency planning, and we hope to start to be able to deploy things like that all across North America. But we have to start with these early relationships and really demonstrate the value and the speed and the clarity of imagery and all of that, and it gets the juices flowing of these operators and these contractors in the field who can quickly access recent data and have it updated for them, and it's easily shareable and all these things that often hamper emergency situations. So pretty cool. Hopefully we get some more people headed out there. We just opened two adjacent sets of missions at the request of the city. So the data has started flowing to them, and they've said, hey, can you get more for us over here and over here? So it's a cool initiative, cool operation. I am going to dig in. We'll call this everybody for now, and we'll get to the top of the call. So League City is fully wrapped up. Thanks to everyone who participated there and who cleaned up there. We are going to start refreshes possibly as early as next week on specific targeted areas in League City, where using the data we have, we've identified areas of rapid change, developments and municipal projects and things like that, and we'll be refreshing those areas quite quickly here. So if you're in or around League City, be prepared for some refreshes coming as early as the back half of next week. And those will be targeted over these project areas. Our marketing team and our sales team will be taking that data forward to project stakeholders and really leveraging this idea of programmatic capture and capturing and documenting details of change for stakeholders before they even ask for them. And I see Paul's got his hand up there, has been invited to stage. So Paul, jump up stage, join us here. For anyone that hadn't come in, I'm off camera today as I'm out of the house and in the field, so I'm broadcasting from the seat of my truck. So no camera. But thank you all for joining. Moving on. So League City, be prepared for some refreshes as early as next week. That is our first, as mentioned, first programmatic capture city, and those refreshes will continue to come throughout the quarter. And some additional programmatic capture cities or geographies will also come online this quarter with that similar sort of refresh cadence on specific target areas. Eagle Mountain should be wrapping up in the next day or two. Looks like everything's either captured or reserved there. So thank you to everyone who headed out there and is completing that collection. That's going to end up being probably the largest ortho image that we have stitched and captured. We've captured more area than that in some places, but we haven't stitched all together. And that one, we're going to be stitching it all into one large ortho image for the municipality of Eagle Mountain. So super cool project. And thank you to everyone who's been out there flying. I see that getting close to done. Spexy is going to be featured in the Esri plenary sessions, the Esri user conference, which is a global conference, but certainly a North America-wide conference for all Esri users. Happens next week, and we are really excited that several of Spexy's operations are going to be featured during their plenary sessions, actually right after their keynote. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to include this operation in Brandon, which was commissioned by Esri directly and is being surfaced to the Esri users through their tools and ArcGIS, as I mentioned. So pretty cool partnership, pretty cool initiative. There is a high probability that some of that imagery and that a summary of this operation makes its way all the way in front of the Prime Minister in the near future. Fingers crossed for that. Super hopeful for a larger Canadian capture as we demonstrate the power of the network and as you guys continue to deliver on the imagery collection. It's really, really amazing when it works like this. So Brandon, Manitoba, ongoing flood response. The impact and potential can't be understated. So if you're able to get out there, we do have a $200 mobilization incentive for anyone that's able to get out there and finish at least 20 missions. We will be refreshing the single panel missions daily from now until the 12th or 13th. So that's about, I think that's going to be close to 400 USDC a day now available, along with the mapping. There's still about half of the mapping capture to be completed, and then we'll refine mapping pass after the floodwaters have subsided. So if you are able to head out to Brandon, or if that's a couple hours for you, we're certainly interested in hearing from you and helping you make that happen. I know there's one pilot, Joe, thanks for reaching out, and who's going to be headed out there and flying tomorrow. And thank you to the 2 pilots who already went and spent some time there. Demand missions, 2 more popped up in Calgary today and were snapped up right away. Calgary continues to be a model client, and we have a great set of operators there. So those are going quickly. Pittsburgh came back up for some recapture, needed slightly higher altitude, just south of Pittsburgh there. Thanks to Raspy Squid for jumping on that and getting those in right away so we could deliver that to the client. What happens sometimes when we capture at the standard 80 meters, if there are tall trees or some other obstacles, the stitching doesn't work quite the way we'd like. And so we occasionally have to send pilots out to fly at 100 or 120 meters. We are working with our product team to make that that default something we can more easily adjust. Now it's auto default to 80 meters, but we'll soon be able to adjust that when we launch the mission. So we're excited for that as well, and hopefully reducing some of this rework. The missions in White Rock are going to get a few more added to it. That's a Skywatch request. And Nav, I think we should dump a small completion incentive on there if someone can get down there and capture White Rock here in the next day or two. I realize that southernmost zone is over the border protection offices. If you're not comfortable catching that southernmost zone, totally understandable. You can leave that one, but if someone can get down and collect the rest, I think there's going to be 3 to 5 more being added on there, maybe even a little more. So we'll make that that attractive for a local pilot there. Pensacola, Florida, some recurring missions coming your way. Small capture, but recurring, I believe weekly, maybe bi-weekly, starting up here in the near future. So if you're in the Florida area and you're listening, particularly the Pensacola area, look forward to that. Let us know you're in the area and you can cover off a recurring set of missions. Quick thank you to Duncan Smith for picking up Telluride. That was helpful and got us some data in front of that client, so we're excited about that. Redding, California, still pending, same client, so if anyone has a contact in Northern California, we'd be happy to speak with them and hopefully pick up that mission in Redding. And Bennett Springs is still live in Missouri. If you're in Missouri or able to head through that way, or you're St. Louis maybe, or somewhere a few hours away and wanna chat with us about making that worthwhile, let us know. But there's some missions live in Bennett Springs. Nav, anything I missed on the demand side?
Oh, that's pretty much it. I don't see any other ones you missed. I think that was it. The Reddings one, I think that one needs to be flown at higher altitude, but I will check. But yeah, that mission is still pending, and we're actively looking for a pilot to complete it, and there is a completion bonus on it. So if you know of someone who is in the area, or if you yourself are gonna be in near the area to fly or be available to fly, then reach out to me or Graham, and we will get you set up with everything and get you ready to fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nav, if you wanna, while I'm chatting, grab a couple more images from Brandon. I did share one that you can see the river starting to come up there, covering some sports fields and things like that. So when
Right.
we get these types of floods where it's not, we had the flooding in Chilliwack and Abbotsford last week, and it was quite challenging for pilots because it was raining right in that location. But Brandon's actually a really interesting one, and I imagine there's some similar locations across Canada, U.S., where the rain and the runoff and the melt and everything like that, the high water doesn't come from that immediate area. So actually, the flying conditions in Brandon have been really
Right.
good, clear skies, but the water is rising and expected to crest in a couple of days. So that type of preemptive capture is a pretty cool opportunity for a network like Spexy. So I can share a little bit more of that imagery. And if you do happen to know anyone that's interested in sort of a case study or project like that, where they live in or work in a community that experiences regular flooding, feel free to let us know about that as well. And I still see Paul's hand up. Is that because we haven't invited him on stage, or because we have?
I have invited him. He just hasn't picked up the invitation yet.
He just doesn't
So
want to come.
yeah,
All right, no worries. As a reminder, and actually, I will ping Nav. Maybe you know the answer to this. Otherwise, I'll ping Mason on it. But the RP only missions, if you want to request submissions nearby, I've had a few people asking me if those expire or if they're meant to expire. And I don't honestly know the answer for our end date on those. Nav,
I
do you know?
think they are meant to expire, but the end date is like quite long. I think couple months at least, 60 to 90 days, something like that.
Okay, so they're up for a
Yeah,
while.
yeah,
We'll double check and verify that, but um, yeah, and then you can always request them again. And as a
yeah.
reminder, you don't have to travel to go capture those. They're just there for pilots who have requested them who want to fly. So if you would like some of your own, just to test out gear or test a kit or capture some imagery, so you understand the process, or build up your RP so you can reserve when missions hit your area. Feel free to grab those. Now maybe we can drop the link.
Right.
Um, one more thing, reservations that reminded me of, and I'll touch on. We did launch the Brandon missions as non-reservable, and for a number of pilots, that caused sort of the opposite the opposite problem. Obviously, if you're a pilot and you're leaving home, you want to know it's going to be worthwhile when you arrive on site, and that 10 other pilots are going to show up and fly all at the same time. However, we did run into the issue during the Abbotsford and Chilliwack floods that we did last fall, that if we launch missions on a Wednesday or a Thursday, pilots would end up reserving them for themselves for Saturday. Perfectly fine normally, except we had pilots on Thursday that would have been able to fly them were they not reserved by another pilot. And in some of these emergency prep and preparedness situations, obviously time and urgency are of the essence. So it's a little bit of a catch 22. I totally understand the pilot desire to be able to reserve, but I understand that the client and the demand and the operational desire to have data as quickly as possible and not have pilots sitting on missions that could be flown. Yes, exactly. Duncan has nailed it in the chat. Product is working on the ability for us to be able to
Yep.
adjust the
Reservation time.
reservation time. So in urgent cases, you would have a reservation time that was maybe 3 hours or 4 hours, maybe 12 hours. So you as a pilot get the certainty that, hey, I'm going to grab my gear, I'm going to leave my house. Heck, maybe I'm going to take the work. I don't know, whatever it is, but you can block those missions out for the time that it would take you to get there. But it's not a 2 or 3 day reservation window that really can hamper an exercise like that. So these are awesome learnings that get surfaced during these times, and that is in the product pipeline right now. Those capabilities for us as an operational team to decide on that time limit. As you can imagine, because we've had the reservations the way they are for so long, any changes need to be clearly communicated to you in the app as pilots, like, hey, this is only a 3 hour reservation, not a typical one, so that we don't create friction or disappointment for pilots who are operating. And then there's a back end aspect feature that requires us to be able to set that time for each individual zone or each campaign or however it's set up. Um, So it's a little more involved than it seems at first blush, but definitely, Duncan, you nailed the the incoming solution. So yeah, Soups, you're saying PA expired within weeks, and that's, I think, all you're talking about, the RP missions. So now let's just get a double check on with planning.
Yeah, I did check. I'm checking with Klein right now.
Awesome. Yeah, those should be able to be live for a month or two at least. You say 60,
Yeah, yeah,
90 days should be fine. And
yeah.
um, campaigns will also start to display, hopefully, I'm hoping next week. I know our product manager's out today, so I wasn't able to confirm the ETA for the in-app display of campaigns. But once we have that, you'll see both a start and an end date for the campaigns, so you'll know when missions are going to close. Because that's been another point of friction and frustration when a pilot is decided to move and go fly some missions, and then in the interim, the missions end up closing. Sometimes when the pilot's actually in the air or actively flying. So we will surface that for you guys so that there's visibility as to the start and end date of any missions that are on the board. So exciting things on the product side. So I'm getting really close to launch and final testing. That stuff's already live in our staging environment, and we're just doing a little pre-breaking to make sure that everything works the way it's expected to work. I see a ticket for a minor issue. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has any suggestions, as always, feel free to drop them in. Do top pilots for June get a cool color name change? Good question, Nav. Have we been keeping up on top pilots, or shall we? Cool color name change for the top June pilots.
Yeah, we do have to run the new pilots for top pilots this month. So I'll be requesting engineering for that data. I think with the last month's changes, we did miss the cutoff on the end of the month. So this will take me a little bit to get that information back from engineering and then make the changes within Discord and give the new roles and stuff like that.
Okay, JP, thank you. And JP and I actually chatted. He's got some great ideas for how to leverage the data, and one of the big focuses and pushes internally as a project for us is to get data in front of you guys and customers and users more openly. So product is heavily focused on that. Our engineering team and developers are focused on how to surface the data in a way that there's sort of a freedom version and some sample products and things like that. Because JP's got some awesome ideas for how to leverage and use and monetize the data, potentially even be a middleman type salesperson, or has some side hustle type ideas. So if this type of imagery data is something you work with, or you've had an idea of working with, or you think you know what a value proposition might be within your professional realm and your professional life, feel free to ping us. We can sit down with you, give you a better idea of what the data looks like, but also Paul is working diligently and very close to, and if Paul would jump on stage, I'd put him on the hot seat, put his feet to the fire, and find out when we're going to get our demo library available. But I think it's going to be really, really soon here. And you guys will be able to jump in and play around with some of the data and see what the derivatives are like and the products are like. There he is. Paul, feet on the fire.
I know, yeah, I was trying to hide in the background there for a while.
For the
Yeah,
whole bit.
it's pretty close to getting ready, so I think next week's community call, we could probably drop something out.
Amazing. That'd be really good. So, think about how it might apply to the work that you do in your professional lives, or an opportunity for you to develop or create a cool project around high resolution aerial imagery. And we are working to put that data in your hands. And as Alec mentioned in a call a couple weeks ago, with a slightly medium term goal of creating a bridge between the amount you fly and the amount of data that could be made available to you. So don't have details on that yet, but it's certainly something we're thinking about, because the data that you create, you generate, you capture and collect is valuable, and I would love nothing more than for you guys to be able to turn that around and participate in some of that value, whether that was through subscriptions unlocked by flying and contributing. Exactly, Duncan. Top pilots, maintaining your activity on the network, and then unlocking the ability to get access to free data and data products that you could find ways, creative ways to monetize. That's a big part of how this project grows and how the snowball starts to really accumulate is when we have users who are both contributing but then also able to benefit from and monetize that contribution. So top pilot should get, oh God, sorry, I misread that. Top pilot might not get God view. I would have to clear that with some people closer to the top of the pyramid than me, but I like the idea. Definitely getting some benefits for pilots who contribute more in terms of access to the imagery to create that value and that value cycle. So that is me. I don't have much more to cover off today. I don't have, what did I go? We covered Calgary, Pittsburgh, White Rock, Pensacola, Telluride, Reading, and Bennett Springs and Vancouver. White Rock's there. So unless we can dive into questions. If there are any questions, we can bring up a speaker. Go ahead.
I wanted to bring up about the tech update. We don't really have a tech update for this week, but we are still blocked. I want all the pilots to know that we are still blocked from DJI on the flight execution error. And the workaround we have with the DJI Fly app launching, that's the only actual workaround which is really working at the moment. So until DJI releases an update or like a fix from their end, we are sort of blocked on that part. And that might take a few days or weeks or even a month. We don't have an ETA either because they're not the best at their communication on when they're going to be releasing certain fixes. But yeah, other than that, no major tech update for this week.
Do we know, Nav, how many pilots that is affecting and how often it's affecting them?
Yes, it is. This is mainly affecting US pilots because of the remote ID update within the US, that the remote has to broadcast its ID when in operation. And at the moment, we are seeing at least 6 to 7 US pilots being affected with this. But these are the official reports we have received. There might be definitely more, which Brian, our engineer, is working on gathering more intel on who exactly is getting this error. But I suspect the number is greater than 6 to 7.
Right. Yeah. No, I would imagine so. Okay. I was going to say great, but it's not great. But at least we're chasing it down as diligently as we can.
We are also pushing DJI on this. We're putting pressure, but again, it's not much update from their end yet.
Yeah. Okay. Duncan saying plus battery US pilots, probably because that plus battery automatic.
Right. It seems to be even without the plus battery. It still happens without the plus battery, so it's sort of like all US pilots are under the umbrella.
Okay. Olympic Leopard asking about north of Seattle. I haven't heard a confirmation. We've gone back to that requesting client, I believe, with an approval and costing, but I haven't heard a confirmed thumbs up on that one yet. It's a good size though. It's a good size chunk, so hopefully they come back with a thumbs up soon. Joe asking about upcoming missions. And right now for Canada, it's just the Brandon and then a couple that went up in Calgary. For the US, League City is going to start getting its programmatic reflights, and then there's a question above that about next programmatic capture city. We've been tasked with coming up with the criteria for those, but part of that's going to be following on to League City's first or maybe second refresh of programmatic capture and some response from clients and target clients and things like that. So probably there's a chance we'll have something for next community call, but I guess it'll be a week or two before we have a confirmed next city for programmatic capture. San Fran, nothing immediate, but the city of San Francisco, obviously, client, and Niantic Labs likes to spring San Francisco on us pretty frequently. So a decent chance something comes in San Francisco area. Any time. Last time I said there wasn't anything in the pipeline, and Eagle Mountain came in about 10 minutes after we hung up the call. So yeah. So as you can imagine, we tell you what we can, but when we get these requests, to get them confirmed if possible. And sometimes if those are existing clients, that's really quick. If they're with new requests from new clients, it takes a little longer sometimes to turn around contracting and agreements and things like that. But existing clients like Niantic, like Skywatch, like Eagle Mountain or City of San Francisco, those sometimes move through really, really quickly. So it can be a moment's notice, and if the planning team's ready and the deployment team's ready, we end up with missions on the board as soon as we hang up here. So I've given you all the information that I have for the, but yeah, the King Mountain, as Duncan says, you end up with requests to turn around time a handful of days, and the data can be in their hands. Pretty unheard of geospatial industry, and as more and more customers and clients see and understand that, we certainly, and it's just continuing to roll and continuing to grow. Super exciting. Someone's sharing a LayerDrone. Is there a way to listen to past recordings of these calls? James asks. Yes, James, and anyone who comes in and doesn't have the roles, I am adding you pilot role and pilot recruit roles. So you'll start to see a few more channels, operational channels. That's you, James Toddard. Yes. Paul, can we get a link to where the previous community calls are hosted? I think it's YouTube, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
Nav or
They are.
That's right. It's on the LayerDrone YouTube, but I think they're all unlisted right now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I will share the links if you could DM me. I will share all those links and then you can review them.
Okay, could
Or
we
you
get
could also
I could
they're
actually
shared in
put them all
in the
public, I
general
think, at this
chat.
point, if people want to go back and listen to any historical calls.
Right.
Yeah, let's either just make them public as a playlist on YouTube, or have the links in one location, a link tree or something like that to the links in one location.
Yeah, that
May
sounds
make
like a plan.
cool. And then Nav,
So
you see an
that's on the
unusual
LayerDrone
silverfish's
YouTube
request.
channel.
Yes, I saw that. And yes, we should be able to do that.
Okay, let's do it.
Unusual
Let's make it happen.
silverfish, that is noted.
So yeah, we can look into that channel, and I not familiar exactly with the distinctions around following it, but um, I know what you mean, so that you get the notifications only from that channel and not from everything on Discord.
Right.
Okay, well, we are at almost the top of the hour here. I've got to go do a pickup from my son at his football camp, and I'm sure everyone else has things to get to this afternoon and evening. So thank you everyone for taking a handful of minutes and listening in. I hope if you're flying safely and efficiently, and things are going well for you. Clear skies. And if you're doing anything else, I hope you have a great afternoon, guys. Thank you all.
Perfect. Thank you all.
And we're out. I think we're supposed to